Hello again. After the Norman conquest of England in 1066, Jews came to live in this country for the first time. For the next 200 years, the number of Jews rose until there were about 15,000 of them in England. Then, for reasons which we need not go into, King Edward I expelled them from the country in 1290. For the next 350 years, there were hardly any Jews here. I was prompted to think of this when reading about the strong opposition of some people to the building of mosques here or the conversion of existing buildings into mosques. Whenever it's learned that there is to be a mosque in their neighbourhood, many people object strongly. This is part of the negative view which an awful lot of English people have of Islam. There is an undercurrent which suggests that Muslims are associated with grooming gangs and other undesirable things, and that their way of life is not compatible with English traditions. These were, of course, all things which were also said about the Jews in medieval England. There were rumours that they kidnapped and killed children for use in rituals associated with their religion, and that they didn't fit in with traditional Christian society at the time. I have heard it seriously suggested that just as the Jews were expelled in 1290, so too should we consider expelling Muslims today, or at the very least suppressing the religion of Islam and preventing its growth. It is said too that a ban on further immigration to the country by Muslims would be no bad thing. All this is founded upon a vague feeling that the Muslims are in some way, an indefinable way, taking over the country and exerting too great an influence. This too is something which was felt about Jews in medieval times and has become a very common idea today. Many of the criticisms levelled at Muslims either have in the past or are now levelled against Jews. Just as there's an idea that Islam has a master plan ultimately to rule Europe, so for many years has it been said that the Jews have a similar plan to take over not only Europe, but even the world. Current concerns about halal slaughter precisely mirror the campaign against kosher slaughter, which has been a thing on and off in Europe since the 19th century. I mention all this not to advocate for or against the ideas being increasingly voiced out loud, but because as it looks more and more likely that reform might form the next government of the country, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that these ideas will become part of the mainstream political discourse in the next few years. I think that we all know that neither the Conservative or Labour Party ever seriously considered tackling immigration or dealing with the problems which immigrant communities in this country are thought by some to present. But if Nigel Farage became Prime Minister and had a robust majority in Parliament, then a strong debate on this kind of thing will become possible. In other words, at the moment, anybody can suggest the most imaginative or ruthless plans to tackle immigration and the lack of integration of some people into British society, safe in the knowledge that nobody's likely to listen to them, much less put their suggestions into practice. However, the closer we get to a general election which might be won by reform, the more seriously are drastic measures being talked of. This means that we might all want to start considering what we really want to see happen and what is actually possible to achieve. In other words, it might well be that the time for daydreaming about action relating to immigration may be drawing to an end, and the time arriving when we need to talk seriously about the matter. I have spoken before about what would actually be entailed if we were to start deporting large numbers of illegal immigrants from this country. Perhaps people might want to remember some of the measures which I said would be necessary and ask how far they would be prepared to go if this actually were a possibility on the table.